Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going on, brother?
Doing very well. Realize the guys listening cannot see what I just did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Feel very peaceful, which is nice.
Good. I'm glad. I know you've got a lot going on. You've been, doing a lot for the movement, and it's much appreciated. And everything that's going.
Yeah, it's and likewise, right back at you. I think we've both been really driving it, which is great because it's paying off. The men are getting some phenomenal results, and it's starting to take on a life of its own, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tim, what I want to talk about today, and it's going to be a short one for us, is the idea of having a roommate with a ring. Now, we've talked about this or alluded to it with other podcasts that we've done, other shows we've done. And it's really this concept that, you're getting married on your wedding day is, for most guys is a very special occasion. Maybe not as much as the bride, but let's be real. A lot of guys, and I've been to a lot of weddings and you have too, we have a great time, right? And they're in love and the love is in the air and they have high expectations for the future, right? A lot of guys will talk about, they almost expect themselves to be this power couple, right? And maybe not a power couple just in business, but a power couple together where maybe the man's the leader, maybe the woman is a leader too in her own right, but they're coming together to this union. And then over time, this union starts to spread away and maybe work starts to get in the way. Maybe they start to have kids, a pandemic hits, right? And they start to split and drift. And when that drift and that split happens, a lot of times the guy will fall into what we call deactivated or a nice guy mode and try to repair the marriage by doing things to make his wife happy. But that doesn't work either. And then as time goes by, they both wake up at separate times, go to bed at separate times. They bump into each other at the kitchen. And they bump into each other at the kitchen. They're almost upset. Like, you're in my way. Get out of the way. Little things like that. Whereas it used to be, right, when you're in the kitchen and your relationship's going good, you bump into her, you give her a little pat in the butt, or you kind of reach around and give her a little hug, or she reaches around your waist, or she grabs you. Right. But it's not like that anymore. Now that bump in the kitchen is kind of like, why is that jerk there? Why are you in my way? Becomes the attitude, not, I can't believe I get to be with you. And so those little things start to turn into a roommate situation, right? Now you and your partner, you and your wife are more roommates than you are lovers. And now you're stuck with a roommate with a ring. Right? Your wife becomes your roommate with a ring, and not even a good roommate, Tim. This is the even worse part. It's not one of those cool roommates that gets an extra 6-pack of beer for you in the fridge, or after a long day, you're sitting on the couch and, over here in the States, we're watching ESPN on sports and they bring you a beer and you guys are just, shooting the shit about your favorite team or whatever it is. No, this is the roommate that's going to look at you with a critical eye if you're drinking a beer. And no, sports aren't on right now because we're watching this show or the kids are this or whatever it is, or you didn't do the dishes and you were supposed to. This is the bad roommate. And this bad roommate has got a ring, and a ring that you picked out together, probably. Maybe you even handed it down from generation, your mother's, your grandmother's ring, or what it may be. And now you got this person living in your home who you used to love, who's now criticizing you, who's now distant from you. And you can tell this person doesn't want you to be there. It's an inconvenience. And now you've got a roommate with a ring. And what that ring symbolizes is that there used to be love there. And you're not bringing home any chicks, right? This is not your buddy. Right? This is not your buddy who used to be your roommate who's bringing home girls for you as well. No. It's a different situation. You're now a married guy, and for a lot of guys, celibate almost, right? If you're having sex less than once a week for a lot of guys, which is happening, kind of celibate in a lot of ways. So, Tim, talk a little bit about your experience talking to the guys about having a roommate with a ring.
Yeah. I mean, wow. So many places to go with this. My experience of talking to the men, I mean, oh my God, it's definitely not where they thought they'd be. There's a lot of shame that goes with it, because one of two things tends to happen, right? They end up slipping into this cycle of shame, sabotage, and sedation often. And obviously, that's the third agony, right? We all know what goes before that. We've spoken about that previously. But with this third agony and this cycle of shame, sabotage, and sedation, the shame game that goes on for them, in particular with the roommate with the ring, is when they're not having the intimacy, be it sex, be it physical contact, be it just a nice look of admiration. They often are at a loss as to why. I mean, why is this happening? I'm doing all the right things. I'm going out there. I'm working hard. I'm providing for the family. I'm bringing home the paycheck. I mean, some of them kind of say that all they do is feel like a paycheck.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to deal with this because often they'll try and initiate sex and it won't happen. They'll feel rejected. They then feel less of a man usually. Some of them erupt inevitably, either publicly or privately. If it's privately, usually it's through porn, or they start drinking more, or they even start working longer because, hey, if I'm not going to get my needs met at home, well, I can be the man in the office. So I'm going to go into work for longer. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to stay there late. Anything to avoid going home. And maybe when I get home, she'll be a bit more tired, so I can avoid those arguments that usually happen if I come home a little earlier. Anything to keep me out of the house longer. Or they end up erupting publicly. And in this, it's usually a sharp word to the kids just for really acting their age. Or maybe they erupt at the wife. Usually it's for something that's totally unrelated to the lack of intimacy or lack of sex and the lack of appreciation that they feel. And it's a harsh word and they regret it instantly. They can't take it back and they don't know what to do to correct it either. And it just worsens the situation. They end up going to bed, sleeping inches apart, but really feeling like there's miles between them. And they don't know what to do. And often the worst part about this is everyone looks at them like they're the man, right? And they're so used to being able to solve problems and they just cannot solve this. But they're also ashamed of the fact that they are lashing out at the people they love or even avoiding them. Or maybe even secretly watching porn and not really having sex. They're ashamed of it. It's not where they thought they'd be and it's not who they want to be either. So then when they walk into the office and somebody says, hey, Jim, how's the family? Oh, yeah, they're great. How's the wife? Yeah, she's great. Things are really good. Because everybody in the community looks at them like they're this leader.
Yeah.
And as days go by and this goes on, the shame starts to stack and it weighs heavy. And the idea of a roommate with a ring is a tough one. Because where do I go from here? Do I just settle and be in a relationship where I just accept I'm not going to have sex? And worse than that, I'm not even going to be admired or appreciated. Or do I tear up the family and be selfish? I can't do that. So they end up trapped in this no man's land. Well, they don't have to be trapped. There's a way out, but they feel trapped in this no man's land.
Yeah. And what happens for a lot of us men when we're in this situation is we feel like we're just going to have to carry the burden, right? You know what? It's good. This is as good as it's going to get. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to do what I can in business. I'm going to conquer there. I'm going to go after it somewhere else and screw it. Eventually this will get better. Hopefully this will get better. And they settle. And what starts to happen is that erodes and the resentment builds up against their wife time and time again. And they fall in, okay, right. I'm going to do something about this. All right. They do what I did. I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to be the nice. I'm going to do all the nice thing. I'm going to get her flowers. Let's get her a new car, right? She's been complaining her car's not that nice. I'll get her a new car. I'm going to get her a new wedding ring, bigger diamond because I'm making money now, right? When we got married, I wasn't making enough money, and look how small our ring is. Of course, if I get her a bigger ring, I'm going to get laid all the time, and it's going to be amazing. She's going to be happy. It's going to reconfirm our commitment. Oh, it's going to be awesome. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Right? So they try again, and they realize, you know what? If she would just realize how hard I'm working, if she would just be nicer, if she's incapable, Doug, Tim, she's bipolar. How many times have we heard that? My wife's bipolar. She's crazy. The funny thing, guys, is she probably is, right? But in a good way. The thing that happened for me, Tim, is when I got rid of those stories and I said, good enough isn't good enough, right? I want great. I deserve great. I'm going for great in other areas of my life. Why the heck would I settle here? Right. But I don't use the word heck, right? When I say that, why would I settle here? And it's when we choose not to settle, men, when we choose not to, when we realize that we get to change first, right? Sure. We have a roommate with a ring. Now let's change our game, right? Where am I showing up like this? And we change ourselves. That's when it changes everything. And what happens is this bipolar woman, this roommate with a ring, goes from a bipolar woman who's crazy when guys get activated. She gets crazy. She goes from trying to rip your head off to ripping your clothes off. And that is where you want to be. The crazy you get is a good crazy in the bedroom when you're activated, right? When you go to this from this deactivated state to activated in this benevolent alpha male, you're no longer going to battle, bumping into each other in the kitchen. What happens is she bumps into you and she starts rubbing her butt against your crotch as she's bumping into you. And it's playful. And now bumping into each other is fun in the kitchen. And she goes from a roommate with a ring to a lady in the street and a freak in the bed. And isn't that what we all want? And I can tell you what, she wants it. Guaranteed. She wants it. Your wife is way freakier than you know. Right? We see it time and time again. There's been studies on it. There's books on it where it talks about women's fantasies. And what they want is an activated, benevolent alpha male. Right?
But Doug, she won't leave me. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Oh, but Doug, I'm too busy to date my wife. I've got to take care of business. There's somebody out there that will. Oh, but you don't get it. It's different. It's just different. Okay.
Yeah. It's
okay. It's different. Okay.
You see, guys, we have the advantage here at The Powerful Man of talking to hundreds of business owners a month, if not a week, right? That's the advantage we have over most anybody, right? I don't know anybody that's got access to that much data, so to speak. And there's trends, just like all kinds of trends that become predictable, right? The excuses. It's the same excuses I had, Tim. It's the same excuses I had when things weren't going well. Well, if she just fixed herself and realizes that all she has to do is have sex with me, do this, blowjobs as soon as I get home. Look how hard I'm working. She can have everything that she wants. She's so lucky. My secretary wants to sleep with me. The girl at the gym wants to sleep with me. Why doesn't my wife just realize that I could go get laid anytime I want to with anybody I want to? But guys, the reality is I wanted my wife and it wasn't working. I had a roommate with a ring. And until I actually took the action of working on myself and got honest and real, which is actually having somebody else show me what was really going on, right? Because we lie to ourselves more than anybody else. Once that happened, I opened my eyes. I was like, oh shit. Okay, let me try these things. And I was skeptical, Tim. I was like, this is not going to work. I was skeptical, right? Because it was so bad. I literally had a roommate with a ring myself. But when it works and you're bumping into each other in the kitchen and bump into each other goes from, God, why are you in my way? To, God, let's go in the bedroom. Or if the kids aren't here, let's skip the bedroom, right? We got an island in our kitchen. I won't go into details, but that's when it becomes fun, guys. That's when it becomes awesome. That's when it becomes exciting. That's when your life refills with passion that takes over into your work, takes over to your health. And yeah, you're still like, yeah, I could have the girl at the gym. Yeah, I could have my secretary, but I want my wife and she wants me and I'm going to take her. She's there. You go from literally wanting to rip each other's head off to wanting to rip each other's clothes off.
So Doug, tell the guys about the upcoming challenge that we've got going on.
Yeah, I don't know if this podcast, when this is coming out, Tim, so it might be too late. Doors might be closed, but guys, I'm putting together along with the other coaches. We're going to do a private training, totally free, right? Well, it's not true. There's a commitment. You got to take action or we're kicking you out of the group. Plain and simple, right? We're doing this for free because we want serious guys, business owners who are married and want to learn how to seduce their wife in 60 seconds or less. I know it's a bold claim, right? It sounded cool when we put it together, but it actually works. And we tested it. This has been something we've been talking about doing. We're going to do it as a paid program, but we want to do it for a certain number of guys, right? Coming into the group. Once it's closed, right? Because the continuity of the training, it needs to go in order for it to work. We can't just have guys slipping in, slipping out, right? You got to be in, you got to be dedicated. It doesn't take a lot of time, right? There's going to be 1 to 2 trainings a week and that's it. But there'll be work, right? Homework or home play, depending on what you want to call it, whatever. There'll be things that you need to do in order to get the result, right? I can't go to your house and do it for you, right? I can't go there and seduce your wife for you, right? You got to learn how to do it yourself so you can get these results over and over and over again and have amazing times. Have those bump into the kitchen moments that you're excited about. So that's what we're talking about. So if you're interested in it, if you go over to the Powerful Man Facebook group, right? If you can just go to thepowerfulman.com, I think it's at the bottom, Tim, of the website. I'm not a web guy really, but at the bottom of the website, there should be a Facebook link. Might be easier for some of you guys if you're on your phone. Just go to the Facebook, click on that, right? Go to the Facebook group, not the Facebook page. I know some guys got confused on this last time. Find the Facebook group, get in, right? There is an application process. We just don't let everybody in because it's a very tight community of over 2,000 business leaders, right? Get in there and then make sure you find the post about this group. And what we're asking people is just put in the word seduce, right? Simple, right? And the reason we do it isn't gimmicky. It's just so we know who to let into the group. That's it. Simple as that. You'll get an invite or someone will reach out to you at the chat and say, hey, saw that you were interested. Here's a link to the group so you can get in because it's going to be hidden. The group's going to be hidden. It's going to be one of these secret groups on Facebook because it's just going to be for this certain number of guys and our coaches to walk you through it, right? There's no risk to you other than you not taking action. That's it, right? And so I invite you guys to do it. I keep saying this like a broken record almost, but I apologize because we got so many guys that wanted to get in the last time we did something like this, which was last year. Once it's closed, it's closed. So if you're watching this on a replay, I apologize, guys. Maybe we'll do another one. I'm not sure. These take a lot of my personal time. I know they take a lot of the team's time. We love doing it. We love the results. We love all the results you guys are getting. At the same time, I got a family. I got things I'm doing as well. So I'm happy to do it for guys that are committed to taking action. It's going to be a short time frame. So you want to make sure you get into that window.
Laughing, it was so effective last time around. Obviously, at the end of it, some guys choose to continue with us, right? But so there was a good chunk of guys at the end of the last one that had literally turned things around in the marriage. So much so they just literally they turned it around. It was incredible to see the journey. There were a lot of guys that did that, but it was always the guys that took action as well. Because I love that we do, eliminate the people who are not taking action because it's just, it's the right way for it to work. There's no point wasting people's time. But guys, I'd love to see you in there. I think you'll get if you apply yourself and if you get there in time, right? Because there's only a certain number of people we can take. But if you get in and you apply yourself, then what Doug and us lot have to share with you, I'm really excited to see how you use it and what happens for you guys. Because you're getting given something that has a potential to really turn things around.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's always a great group of guys, very open. That was one of the things, we do close the groups. That was one. The only complaint we got is the guys like, oh man, I've seen such a great group, right, to come through.
Yeah.
But we do it to keep the continuity, guys, of the trainings and keep them through. So it'll be awesome. But gentlemen, as always, take some massive action, right? Whatever you decide to do, there should be something through. If you find yourself with a roommate with a ring, and especially the bad roommate, do something about it, right? Stop complaining about it and just do something about it. Get activated, become that benevolent alpha male, and actually take that action. All right, gentlemen, have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.